In our research, we have identified about 18 communities of Indian origin.
The Malayalese town in close proximity to Kandy in the Senkadagala kingdom is famous for several reasons. The fields of religion, social and sports are the basic reasons for this. Aluviharya, the St. Thomas Church and the Muttumari Amman Hindu Temple are such popular places. It was a Malayalese town which held supremacy over the sport of hockey for some time. There are two main streets that lead both ways from the town. The main street that leads to Trincomalee is one of them. The second is the King Street. A few decades ago, a youth arrived in Colombo through these roads. The youth, we identify with the short name of Mahen, had visited Colombo several times.
Hi, I am Mahen Fernando. I was born and bred in Malayalese town. I had my early education at St. Thomas College, Malayalese till grade 5. After that, I moved to Kandy for my higher secondary education. During my young age, I used to visit Colombo very often with my parents, with my uncle, to see Vesak and Kochikade St. Anthony's feast. We made so many frequent visits to Colombo those days. Especially for Vesak holidays, we come here to have look at the pandals and other decoration. We go to Akasa Kade, the tallest building. At that time, it was the tallest building in Colombo. We go up and look at the entire Colombo city. Same time, we used to go to Buhari Hotel. It was a great prestige to have food at Buhari Hotel. We didn't have much hotels like these days. The famous two hotels were Taj Samutra and Golf Face Hotel. Those days, we used to come to Colombo by hiring car. The entire charge from Colombo to Malayalese return was only 80 rupees. Then we travel by Pandal service bus, specially operate during Vesak days to see the Pandal that starts from Borah and goes up to Maragam, and they drop us back in Fort. The charges only was 50 cents.
He is a member of the Bharatha community by birth. The land of their ancestry is the southern region of India. The initial link of this generation has migrated to this island as far back as 1930.
During this period, my grandfather arrived to Sri Lanka from South India along with many other Bharathas. They all landed in Talamannar Pier. From there, some stayed in Manna, others moved to down south. Some stayed in Anuradhapura, some stayed back in Kurunegala, some in Malayalese and Kandy, and most of them came to Colombo. Meantime, some people went to north also. My grandfather then established in Malayalese city. It is a long story, just I want to narrate about that.
Today, the Bharatha community could be mainly found in Colombo, which is considered the commercial capital. They are spread over the western, northwestern and northern provinces. The opinion of those in the know is that Mannar is special among them. According to some legends, the Bharatha community is linked to the reign of King Parakramabahu VI, who ruled Kotte in 1415. Similarly, the final migrating group of the Bharatha community is said to have been recorded during British rule. Another opinion is that Bharatha ethnic groups from South India arrived in the island proportionate to the huge economic growth in the cotton trade during 1850 to 60. Identified as Paravar or Paravar, they belong to a family of South Indian origin. In India, they were coastal fisherfolk, later involved in liquor, medical, dry fish, petrol and textile trade. According to some other modern sources, they also have been identified as fierce Indian soldiers.
During 1930s and 1940s, my grandfather started a business establishment, more or less like a supermarket. It was called Jubilee Stores. Everything was available in the shop, starting from textile, footwear, food items and fancy items. Same times, we had two other business establishments. One deal with liquor and other deal with petrol and diesel. During that period, a lot of other Bharathas also engage in business, especially Santiago Stores, Paivas, and Ponnusami Fernando and Sons. These shops also dealt with food, liquor, and fancy items. We did the same business, no competition between all of us. We lived like a united family. During that period, more than 100 Bharatha family was there in Mathale town.
The good, bad, sadness, and joy are common factors to every human life. This is not restricted to a particular race or religion.
When I was a kid, I still remember the sweet smell around our shop whenever I visit there. But unforgettable memory I can recollect is just before 3 weeks from the Christmas, our shop got burned. But my grandfather and father put a lot of effort and opened the shop with all the things 3 days before the Christmas. Actually, this was a great achievement by these two gentlemen.
Historic Mathale is a town that safeguards the unity among the Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, and the other ethnic communities. However, certain outside factors have impacted on this unity on more than one occasion.
You all must be knowing there was a communal riot erupted in 1958. Most of the cities in Sri Lanka got affected. But Mathale, nothing happened, not a single shop got damaged because all three community people, Sinhalese, Muslims and Tamils, got together and chased the mob who came from outside to create problem in Mathale city.
Our hero too returned to this homeland. It was with the expectation of returning. It was a memorable journey. The journey began from the Mathale railway station.
1963, I first visited India with my parents. It was a pleasant journey by train and ship. We could buy ticket from Colombo Fort to Chennai. It was only 80 rupees return ticket. So we had to travel to Thalaimannar, and from there by ship Thalaimannar to Dhanushkodi at that time, and from there by train to Chennai. It lasted about 1.5 days. The return journey, we used to come to Kurunegala and get down. My father used to send the car. From Kurunegala, we come back to Mathale. But the cost was so minimum, and because of that, lot of people travel to India, especially the Bharatha origin. After these ferry trips to India, we started to travel to India by flights. Our first trip was from Jaffna to Trichy. It costed only 45 rupees. After that, we started to travel from Colombo to Chennai. It was not that expensive during that period. During this visit, we met a lot of our friends and relations from Bharatha community. Even our close relations, we were not able to meet during those days. We met them very often and made frequent trips to Chennai. In late 70s, my parents sent my brother and me to India to earn the degree. As soon as we finished degree and came back to Sri Lanka, there was a major problem in our country. That was 1983 riots. During this period, Mathale town was affected very badly.
Most of the foreigners living in this country gained registered citizenship around 1950. Through this, a national identity was attributed to these people. However, this was shattered in 1983.
At that time, there were 3 cinema halls in Mathale town. They were Taj Mahal Mathale, Central and Casino. The Casino theatre also belonged to a Bharatha community person. He was a famous producer of Sinhala films. He was Joe Sugantha. But his theatre got completely burned. Our theatre was partially burned, but our house got completely burned. After seeing this, I got really fed up as a youngster. I told my parents to go to India and settle there. Forcibly I sent my parents as well as my brother to India. But I wanted to stay back in Sri Lanka. I stayed in Mathale. With my friends' help, I rebuilt the theatre within 1 month and released a film called Valve Mayam. Meaning of Valve Mayam is life is empty.
It was not only the physical resources that were thus set ablaze by outside forces, it was also to the human spirituality. This also harmed the common culture.
Before 1983 riots, we had big crowd for our 9:30 shows. People even come from Damulla, Trinco. I can still remember we released a film called Zanjeer, Hindi film. People came from Trinco to watch this film. After 1983, we had to cancel 9:30 shows because nobody came to the theatres for 9:30 because no transport and people wanted to wait at their homes because they had a lot of bad experience during that period.
The Indian Bharatha community, which had carried out trade transactions with the island for a long time, is among the Bharathas to initially settle down within the Peta in Colombo. It is this Bharatha group which had imported the textiles to sew apparels for the affluent and middle classes in Colombo. Historical records remind that most among them had resided within their shops on Main Street and the cross streets. Most of the Bharathas are in Kochikade and Kotahena.
During this period, I often visited to Colombo to schedule films to my theatre from the National Film Corporation. We had to come to Colombo personally to schedule, get films for our cinemas. After that, I got married in a girl in Colombo and settled in New Chetty Street, Colombo 13. Lot of Bharathas and Colombo Chetty people were residing in this area. Now I am in Colombo for past 35 years. My children were educated in schools, especially the international schools, and they had a lot of Sinhala friends because they don't know Tamil or Sinhalese to write or read. They know only English because they were in international schools.
There are members of the Bharatha community among those who excel within the highest levels in Sri Lanka and among the professionals who show their prowess in various sectors.
My younger brother was working as a manager at Indian Overseas Bank Mathura branch. Meantime, my children, after their education, they moved to Europe for their further education.
Despite being devout Catholics, the Bharatha community is said to have not forgotten their Hindu traditions and customs. They are replete with generosity, which is also very close to Buddhism.
In year 2000, we donated our land, which extended to 75 purchase with 2 houses, to a Catholic mission. Now it's functioning as a convent.
The Sri Lanka Bharatha community is very active socially as well as economically and are law-abiding. They could be identified as a peaceful ethnic entity.
I was born in Sri Lanka, educated in Sri Lanka, and achieved everything in Sri Lanka. I like this country more than anything else. I want to mention about a person in my life. He was none other than Nimal Karunaratne. He was with us for more than 50 years. I want to do anything for this country because I love this country.